Hi guys, welcome back to Collective Creative Initiative. We are carrying on from the wonderful dance class that we had this morning with Melody Sinclair, one of the associates on Six, with quite a few of the UK Tour Six Queens. We are incredibly lucky to be joined for a coffee morning this morning to talk about their upcoming run at the Lowry in Salford by the lovely Harriet Watson.
Hello.
We've got Jen Caldwell. Hello. We've got Tina. We've got Shaka, and we've got Jodie Steele, and I've added in Lauren Drew. Oh my God!
Hello. Guys, I was having a nightmare.
You are live on YouTube, so please no swearing. Hi, thank you so much for joining us, Queens. We've never had this many people on CCI at one time, so thank you so much for joining us. I'm just going to get you each. I'm sure the people watching know who you guys are by now, but just to kind of say a little bit about yourselves, what your name is, a bit about your background, and the queen or queens that you play in Six. So Harriet, we'll start with you.
Hello, so I'm Harriet Watson. I am currently on the show. I'm alternate Seymour and Carl. I'm the dance captain, and I was cast by the lovely Pearson Catherine at an open call.
Were you really? You were from the open?
Yeah.
There you go. Come to open calls, people. Jobs. Amazing. Madison.
Hello, I'm Maddie, and I play Anne Boleyn on the tour cast of Six.
Amazing. And so this was your first job out of college, am I right?
Yes, yeah, it was, yeah. So it was my first audition, actually, which was really, I remember going in and it being the most daunting, mad thing ever. Everyone else was all experienced and I was there in my little kind of like graduate kind of book, like all the stuff ready. And yeah, it was mad. So, wow.
Love that.
Yeah.
Athena. Hello. My name is Athena, and I was playing Catherine Parr on the UK Tour of Six.
Amazing. Welcome, Jen.
Hello, I'm Jen, and Jen Caldwell. You can see my name there. And I am alternate Anne Boleyn and Catherine Howard on the UK tour of Six the Musical, and I've just spilled green tea all over myself because I got excited.
Cassandra Lee.
Hello. As I was introduced, I'm Cassandra Lee, but most people just call me Cassie, as it says right there. So yeah, and I am I'm currently playing alternate Catherine of Aragon and Anna of Cleves on the UK tour.
Yeah, this is not your first time on the platform. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you.
That literally was like Klingon. So I'm just going to take you out the stream, put you back in, and see if that helps. That's better.
Oh,
Try again, Shaq?
hello.
Hi. There we go. So you play Cleves on the tour?
Yes, ma'am.
But you are yes, ma'am. You're an old hand at touring. You've done several other productions prior to this, and you were also in the West End for a while as well with Six.
Yeah, when I was in town, I was alternate Aragon and Cleves, so it's quite nice to now be playing Cleves full time.
Amazing stuff. Lauren Drew, welcome to Collective Creative Initiative. Tell us a bit about you.
So I'm Lauren Drew, and I am Catherine of Aragon on the UK tour and production of Six the Musical. With all these lovely ladies.
Amazing. And Jodie, welcome back again. Thank you so much for coming back on. Tell us a bit about you.
I am Jodie. I play Catherine Howard on UK tour. Sorry about my swollen face. I just wanted to get that out there. We've had an operation.
Amazing. So I'm going to start with some questions, but I can see we've got a lot of people watching. So if you are watching and you want to ask these queens any questions, almost anything is allowed. I want off limits when it comes in. But if you have any questions at all about their careers, about the process of being in Six, about them, feel free to do that. You do need to be subscribed to the CCO YouTube channel, so just click subscribe and pop your comments in. You can start them off as early as you like, and then we'll come back to them a little bit later on. So I just want to start with kind of, where were you guys when the lockdown happened? Because for the West End cast, they were kind of, some of them were kind of on a day off, and then it was just like, yeah, don't come in tomorrow, there's no show. So Cassie, where were you guys? What was happening with you?
I was loading up my car to drive to Brighton and got a message to say, don't come.
And that was it. And then
yeah, that was it. Don't come. Go home if you're already here, or don't set off if you haven't set off.
So it's not like you guys were together and kind of got that news together, and then it was literally like, so have you guys seen each other? Lauren, have you been in the same room together and worked together since then?
No, we haven't worked together. I mean, I think a couple of the girls they've been doing some workshop quite recently, but as a collective, we haven't actually had the opportunity to work in the same space, obviously because of the current climate. But it was such a shame, because we could feel that the storm was coming, because Wolverhampton, and it started to get really serious. Like, the West End was starting to close, and we were like, oh man, this could potentially be really catastrophic for us. And then it was like no stage door allowed, and then that was the next thing, and we thought, oh man, that's again another level. Because Six, again, with the audience, they're almost like part of our show, aren't they?
Yeah.
So stage door is actually quite important for Six. So when that wasn't allowed to happen, I was like, oh god, and then we all went home. And that's when we found out we won't be seeing each other. And we thought a couple of weeks, 6 months later, here we are.
Here we are, about to open. Athena, what was that like when you got the phone call saying we're going to Salford to do a 7-week run?
It was absolutely amazing. It was the best feeling in the world, because not only is Six just magical, and being with the girls and being with the crew and being with everybody, but just the thought of having something to go to, something to work towards, and musical theatre coming back, because I mean, I think that's all why we do it anyway. We love it, and the fact that it hasn't been there is absolutely devastating. So I was absolutely elated when we got that call. Elated.
Amazing. So, Jodie, it's been, I don't know, 6-7 months now since you did the show. How does it feel to be going back? Do you have that like, oh, I hope everything's in my brain in the same place it was back in March?
Do you know, 50% of me is like, oh my god, I can't wait, and 50% of me is, ah! What is it? What happened? Where am I? I feel like it's going to feel like a first ever show again. I feel like that will be there. I remember how we felt in Guildford and how elated we were when we realised we'd done it, and I feel like we were going to relive that experience, which is really cool.
Amazing. I think just that first show when you're up on the stage and you've got that live audience in front of you. And I know we were talking about this with the West End cast last week, that the London cast, it's going to be a bit odd with the social distancing, because you guys are used to being in a really small space, very intensely, like with the audience right there. So they were kind of intrigued to see how that felt different, even though you'll actually be playing for probably more people than some of the smaller venues you were before, even though it's social distance, because you're in the room, you're in the big venue at the Lowry.
Yeah,
I think it'll be really nice, because I think there'll still be the impact of having that many people in a space, even though everyone's socially distanced. And actually, in Wolverhampton that last week, through the week, there were gradually less and less people in the audience anyway. So it was weird, because we've actually had a slight taster of what that feels like, because people weren't turning up because of everything kind of escalating. I think we're quite lucky that we'll still have quite a lot of people in the space to give that energy and to feed that back.
I think it'll feel amazing to be back on stage and have a live audience. Harriet, just going back to the question of kind of going back to the show after a long break. Obviously, you guys have rehearsals first, but you're not just an alternate, you're also a dance captain. So your brain is literally full of all 6 tracks at all times.
Yes. Do you know what? I think it's pure excitement of it. I'm getting over the fact of being nervous again about having all those facts in my head. And everyone knows whoever I do an interview with, I have to always shout out to Jennifer Coldwell, who taught me about string Bibles and how to put this stuff in your brain and stuff. So having my Jen there definitely helps me to be a better swing and to have all 6 tracks in your head.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
That's really nice.
Amazing. We've got a couple of questions come in, and we're going to have to go through every queen, obviously. So what is everyone's favourite moment in the show? I love you all, says Alex. Let's start with Shaka. Favourite moment in 6?
My favourite moment would have to be the I Don't Need Your Love remix. I just think it's literally just a powerhouse of, feminine, strong empowerment energy just coming straight to the forefront of the stage. And if any of you ever get the chance to be on stage with one of these girls, you can't beat it. Like, it's literally just like energy in your face.
Love it. Cassie, what's your favourite moment in the show?
Oh, it's soon right next to that. It's actually just getting to do the song 6. So you've done all of that, and by this point, like, the audience gets it, they get the message you're giving them by then, and they're all on your side, and all the girls are with you, and just along the front in our Queen's lineup, nothing beats that energy, and the audience doing the choreo with you. It's just sick. Can't beat it.
Amazing. Jen, as an alternate, you must see the show differently. Like, every time you go on, do you get like a different vibe from it depending on which queen you're in?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, we're encouraged during the rehearsal process by the director, by the creative team, to like find different, like use different parts of your personality for each queen. So, like if I'm Berlin, I have like that kind of laddie, like cheeky side of my personality, and it's different. It feels different to do the show every time as an alternate if you're going on for different characters. It's such a weird thing to try and explain, but you feel like a little bit like you've got split personality because you're like completely different every single time, because those characters are, although you bring yourself to them, they are all totally different. So yeah, it's brilliant.
And it's not just, now I'm in this on the different side of the stage on a different foot. There's different physicality to the different roles, even in the choreography.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, we get told as well about how you see each queen. So you can have Aragon as quite like regal and sassy, and then Berlin has got this like smaller, little bit cheekier vibe, and Seymour is like more maternal, and you manage to find different physicalities, I think, anyway, for each queen, for sure.
Amazing. What is the most difficult part of the show, Jodie, for you? Oh, she's on mute. Let me unmute her.
Oh.
Yeah.
We've got you now.
There are 2 moments: breathing in Holbein and breathing in All You Want to Do.
Oh, yeah.
those be the 2 moments.
That's amazing.
I think Holbein, you hit that hallway like, oh yeah, we're really in this now, but we're only halfway through, and it's full on. And then all you want to do is all you want to do.
Because all you want to do is it 7 minutes long?
It's just hard for me. It's just hard for the girls as well. For me, like, it is a marathon of a dance. I remember one time in Salford, we had to do it 1.5 times. That was fun.
Oh wow!
It's an amazing number, and of course I love it because it's the number that I do. But yeah, finding the breath. I think it's a marathon. 6 is a marathon, and I think people sometimes don't realise that musical theatre performers are athletes.
Yeah,
it's a type of athleticism, and that is really conveyed in 6 for sure.
It is, and it's not only an enormous sing, but technically, dance-wise, this is, you know, a challenging show. And then the stamina, kind of going back to like the previous question, Madison, you know, in terms of the stamina of the show, is that something you felt like you built through rehearsals and through the show? Oh, she's on mute as well. One sec. There you go. We've got you. Go on.
Hello. Yeah, 100%. I think through the rehearsals as well, if you're not as used to wearing heels, dancing and performing, you feel it. In the first week, you feel it. We were all laid on the floor with our feet up, draining our feet. Yeah, completely just kind of trying to relax all the muscles after the first week. And you do get used to it. You absolutely build up that stamina and strength. And it's what I'm starting again to do properly in the run up. But yeah, it's really exciting to work towards getting that stamina back as well, because to just get ready to go.
Yeah, just something to work towards. Lauren, I would think that No Way is kind of a feat of vocal and physical endurance. Is that your hardest moment in the show? I mean, you must love it because it's an incredible opening to the show. Everyone is on. 1 second, let me unmute you. There you go. Go on.
Sorry. No, I adore it, and it's so up my street in terms of the vocal style. What's particularly difficult about it is obviously our costumes are, you know, designed to look so incredible. But when you're like completely out of breath and you're running around the stage and you're also like in these like amazing costumes, there are just so many layers and so many things you have to take into consideration. So when I first started the run, I would start off the opening number Ex-Wives, and I was like, do, giving like 2,079,000,000% energy. And I get to the way, and I was like, you must. I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
So when I get to that middle section where there's that nice little pause that I'm gifted, I sometimes do take advantage of that pause. I won't lie to you. And sometimes take it a bit longer than what I should. But it's because I want to make the second.
Oh, we love you for it.
Yeah. Because I'm like, I'm giving you all a break as well. And I get to that second section, and of course it's amazing, but I really want to hit that like massive note the best that I can. And obviously I'm sort of breath because we've gone into Ex-Wives, straight into the dialogue, straight into No Way with no water. Sound like I'm in the Sahara Desert, like dry lipped. But no, I adore it. I literally love it. It's so much fun. And it is so up my street, which is why when I was in the audition process for 6, I was like, that's the song I want to sing. Because it's just me.
Interesting. Actually, we've got a question coming up about auditions. I don't think people necessarily realise that you didn't all just come in and sing the Queen that you are here playing now. Many of you came and actually auditioned for multiple Queens. So just remind us who you've auditioned for. Harriet, you must have done absolutely loads because as an alternate.
Yeah. I did. I think I was made to do all of them but Howard. So I had to do every single one. I remember in the audition room, we all did it. We all, like, when you were doing auditions for us, we did it, sang it, and then someone else, and then someone else. And then I was thinking, oh my God, I can't remember everything. But it was really, I was proud of myself after I did it. Because I remember when I saw the show in Edinburgh, I just saw Seymour and I was like, that's who I want to be. And then the minute you gave us those different roles, I was like, oh my God. Lauren,
who else did you come in and audition for?
This time round, I auditioned for, I think it was, Seymour and Howard, as well as Aragon. So amazing. They were the ones I did this time.
What about you, Athena?
What did I do? I did Pa and Howard. And I think I got sent Jane Seymour, but me and my agent got confused, so I never actually did it in the audition.
Amazing. But, yeah. What a different show it would be with this lineup, but with everyone in different Queens. That would be so interesting. So is there a Queen you kind of have your eye on, like, okay, well, if I were to come back next time, like Jodie, who would you want to play?
I think Bobo would be really fun, but I think for my vocal style, I think I'd love a crack at singing Pa. Just because the runs and stuff, I think that's my favourite song And when every night when Athena opens her mouth, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to sit here and have a lovely time and enjoy. But yeah, I'd love to sing Pa, but Berlin she's a cracker, isn't she?
She's hilarious. Shaka, what about you? Because you have covered Aragon as well and played Cleve. So is there another queen you've got your eye on?
I would love to play Bobo. I just think with my Leicester accent, it would be hilarious. And also, I would love to do. I always get stuck between Seymour and Pa because I just think it's a vocal style that not many people hear me do. So yeah, I'm just kind of like either or.
Amazing. And Brody says, do you have any tips for showing your personality during auditions? Jen Caldwell, we'll start with you.
It's hard, isn't it? Because I feel like you want to be what you think people want from you. Does that make sense? But I think tips to be yourself. Don't be afraid of being silly. And don't be afraid of everyone has like inevitable awkwardness in an audition situation. So like embrace that and don't just acknowledge it. And I think that helps everyone else feel a bit more comfortable. Do you know what I mean?
What about you, Maddie? Because this being your first audition, how did you combat like the nerves versus like I have to show that I can take direction and that I'm, can calm under pressure, that they can handle a leading role on a UK tour and be confident in me?
I mean, that was all going through my head. I mean, honestly, the first audition, I really think I was running off of first audition like adrenaline, right? When you go into your first one and you're like, okay, let's go. Like, I really think I was very lucky that this audition was my first audition because the energy and adrenaline that I had, I was like, okay, let's throw it all in. And I remember, who was it? I remember doing my second song, which was Call Me Maybe, in the first round. And Lucy was there and you hear at drama school, you think everyone goes, don't look at the panel, look above them, look out. And then Lucy said, okay, look at us. I remember thinking, what? Where's this come about? So I just thought, well, I'm going to just say yes to it. I think what's drilled into you is just say yes to anything and just have a go no matter what. And I think I just said yes, completely like stared everyone in the eye and just completely thought, well, in for a penny, in for a pound. And I think it's just going for it and committing whatever kind of you're given, just committing. You can go too far, but it's better to go too far and rein it in than regret not giving as much as you felt like you could. So I think that's what I would say in terms of giving that.
Really, really good advice, kind of just showing that you're not afraid to put yourself out of your comfort zone and work with this team. And the eye contact thing is something as a panel we literally work on with people through, the first 2 or 3 auditions actually. And exactly as you say, a lot of times, I think maybe less so now, but you're definitely at drama school, it's over the head, find a spot on the wall and perform. And 6 literally is the reverse of that. And actually I'm in more and more auditions with different panels who want that contact and that connection with the audience. And so the more flexible you can be in that audition and listen to what's being asked of you, the better. Cassie, your audition was slightly different in the sense that we had a gap that we needed another alternate to be able to cover the roles that we didn't already have. And so you literally did 1 day with us. That must have been a bit like, oh.
To start with,
you're all right. We've got you.
Okay. I just want to start by saying, it was a mad day, exhausting day, but it was one of the most incredible and most enjoyable audition days I've ever had in like my career. It was awesome and so supportive and great. But yeah, we came in and it was like dance and then dance again and then do like the queens line up, and we were trying in all different queens. Even the ones I was surprised, I came in for, I had Aragon, Cleves and Pa, and expected maybe to do that even in the scenes, but then was thrown into like some Berlin and some this and some that. You got to like try your hand at everything. And it was super cool. And then right at the end of the day, there was do you know Heart of Stone? I was like, I've heard it like, just pop off, come back in 20 minutes and we'll have a bash. And it was just one of those where it's like you panic for a sec, but then you just figure it out. And you guys are so lovely and so supportive in the room that it's just such a cool day, such a wicked day.
But quite intense, because you literally did what most people do over like a 3 to 4 week audition process. You did in one day, so a bit of a baptism of fire there, I think.
That day, like my brain just kind of melted at the end. So tired.
It was an intense day. Emily says, how has being in Six developed you as performers or people? So Lauren, you are probably one of the sort of more experienced queens in terms of, you know, we've got Maddie and Athena who are straight out of college. So how is this show different in terms of your kind of journey than other productions have been?
You know, what I adore about Six, and I say this quite a lot, is the individuality that you are allowed to portray with your character. So obviously with other shows that you are in, you are always kind of forming it around an idea that's already been created. And that is a similar aspect with Six. Obviously, you have a figure in history that you have to portray, but equally you are allowed to show your own personality, your own flair, and that's what makes it so different. And that's why everyone that plays the same queen, every version of it is so different. And that's what I love about Six, because that is very rare to find, I think. And also in this particular situation, we are branded as almost like pop stars in a musical.
Yeah.
So that added a completely different layer and a different kind of experience for me that I've never come into contact with in my life. And it adds a different energy. It also gives you another strain of confidence if you find little avenues that you didn't know you kind of had. And it's opened my mind up to different things that I want to do because of Six.
Great answer. What about you, Harriet? Same question to you.
I think it definitely made me a lot more confident, because I struggled with the whole eye contact. I know it sounds silly, it's such a small thing, the eye contacty stuff, and really being able to fully like let myself go and just look ridiculous. Before this, I did like a lot of like kid shows in Rome and whatever, and did more straight plays and stuff. So it was really exciting to just sit in the room or be on stage and just act like an absolute div and no one really cares. So that was really nice, and especially in the audition room, that you let us guys go fully to the extent of whatever we wanted to do, and you were never like, no, that's wrong, we don't like that. It was being able to like fully explore and play. And then even things like when we were in rehearsals, we did like a lip sync thing against all the other queens, and it was just a moment when I stood there and I just thought, why do I care? Let's just do it and show everyone what I actually can do. So it's now being able to push past that point of inhibition. I just feel like I don't have it anymore, which is such a nice feeling when you just don't care. Not as in like I don't care about my job, but you know what I mean?
You're not self-conscious, you're not, self-aware, and it's really freeing. Great question from Michael. How are you all staying positive through COVID? Athena, would you want to start this one off?
Yes. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It is hard to try and like keep pushing through for everybody. But my positivity is probably coming from my family. It's kind of like a very simple thing, but just I think that's what I missed most on tour anyway. And if I could just pick my family up and tour them around with me, I would. So that just being around them and having that little support network of when you're having a bad day, you just go cuddle your mum and you have a little cry, or you have a great day and you laugh and you're play fighting with your brother or something. So that's my family right now are keeping me positive.
That's great. And Shaka, what about you?
For me, it is kind of like not stopping. I'm not stopping myself from enjoying the good moments. I feel like sometimes you can get so wound down and feeling, you be deep in feelings and thinking about other things. But I think if there's one moment that you're laughing your day, hold on to that moment, let that speak through the rest of your day, rather than just going, okay, I'm having a bad day. No, but you had a good moment, so it's not a bad day, it's just a bad moment, and it's switching it on its head. And just kind of like, I said this to a friend the other day, who both of us have been kind of talking back and forth, and I said, it's almost like trick your energies. So like if you feel like you want to scream one day, sing something loud. It doesn't have to be something that's vocally perfect. Just sing out, get that energy out. If you want to cry, get that out. But then the opposite breathing pattern of that is to laugh. So then give yourself the opportunity to laugh. And I think that's kind of like how I've done it. I've kind of just kept it real with myself and then gone, okay, but that's a moment. There's still 23 hours left in a day.
Really great. Love that, finding the balance. And I just want to talk quickly about social media, because it's a kind of big contentious thing. We watched Social Dilemma the other day, and it's did you watch it?
Oh my God.
And so it's very difficult, because I think intrinsically, especially if connecting with fans online, or for us running businesses online, it's very, very difficult to kind of say, I'm literally just going to walk away from social media. But have you found it a comfort in this time, or have you found the negativity affects you? Jodie, start with you.
Social media. It's such a tricky thing, because we're kind of in a world now where it almost feels like if you're not present on social media, you're not present in life. It feels like you're missing out on the party 24/7 if you're not on your Instagram account, your Twitter account, or Facebook, or all the other things. But I think the way I've done it, I understand that I have a platform, and that I have to fuel my platform with things that will educate people and will help people. And I also find that it's useful to be truthful. I think I tweeted the other day, like, I feel quite lonely today, and the response was mad. I was like, I love how you all like that I'm feeling lonely. No. It was like people resonated with that, and it was nice to see that someone who seems to always be like, hey, how you doing, is actually having a bad day. And so I think it's important to remember that social media can be smoke and mirrors. And actually, if you are truthful on social media, people will be truthful back with you and share that they're feeling a bit low. But I also think it's important to not spend too much time on it. I kind of do a post and go thing, like, give some content and be present, and then don't sit and scroll, because I get really bad anxiety if I do that. And especially females, we go away after an hour on Instagram like, oh fuck. And it's just our screens playing with our minds, and we need to remember how great we are just as we are. Everybody is, and sometimes you don't need to stare at people who are airbrushed on a screen, or people who are telling you the great things about their life but not perhaps telling you the more negative things. And so you then think, well, I'm not always having a great time. Does that mean that I'm not doing life right? But they're just not telling you about the bad times. So it's a hard one, but I think social media can be used very positively, and that's the aim. I think when you're using it and when you're viewing it, really go for the more positive things about it. Don't get stuck in the black holes, as we call them.
That's really good advice. I love that. Millie has a really random question. She actually said, ignore the first bit of the question. I think that might be for someone else. If you were choosing a mini festival lineup of 1 headliner, 4 bands, and 3 food trucks, who would you choose? Jen Caldwell, we'll start with you.
I actually answered this in a Q&A the other day, so I've got a prepped answer, because Millie.
Amazing. Okay.
Thank you. If I can remember it, I said it was anyone, alive or dead. So I had Elvis headlining.
Yes.
And then who else did I have? Celine Dion, because she put a hell of a show. Lady Gaga, same. One of the first bands I ever saw, Red Hot Chili Peppers, right? They're a little bit underrated, and they also put on hell of a show. And Ben Platt, because obviously, love them, right?
Ben Platt.
Love it.
I said I wanted a Dishoom food truck.
Yes.
Because I love Dishoom. Papa John's. And I wanted like a Belgian themed food truck that had Belgian beer, Belgian waffles, Belgian fries, and bitterballen.
Jesus. This is a really good mini festival. I might come to this.
Thank you so much. I will make tickets affordable. Maybe.
Ina, same question to you.
Was that me?
Yeah.
Gosh, it's quite a hard one actually. If my headliner would probably have to be Beyonce, because Beyonce. Who else would I have? If I was thinking of a band, Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, good choice. Love that.
Trying to think, who else would I want? I think You gave me this idea actually, Jen, when you said Ben Platt. I'd probably get a good bit of Cynthia Erivo on there as well, because she's just amazing. And then food trucks, I'd have to have a Domino's truck and a West Indian Caribbean food truck, and then probably a Greek food as well.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, love these answers. By the way, none of these queens were prepped on these questions. These are literally coming from the public, believe it or not. Talking about other people in musical theatre, Harriet, who are your musical theatre idols? Like, who are the people that made you want to go into the business?
Right. So basically, I remember, where was I? I saw Danielle Steers. I was doing a Kinky Cabaret once, and Danielle was performing before me. And I remember watching her, and I remember listening to her voice, because I've only ever seen shows before that had soprano sounding voices or like a really typical musical theatre voice, and she was the first voice. And I was like, I'm not saying I've got a voice like Danielle Steers, but it was the first time I heard it, and I thought, okay, so I don't sound like the usual musical theatre singers. Like, this girl is incredible, and she's made it so far. I can as well. And then I remember after she performed and after we performed, I was just fangirling so hard. I was like, I love you. And then when she walked into the rehearsal room, I was like, oh my God. She's definitely like the reason. I know it sounds so like, but she's definitely the reason like, I kept doing it, because of her voice and the style. And she has this stunning, like low, raspy, beautiful voice. Yeah, she's definitely my main person. If you're watching, Danielle.
Okay. Cassie, same question to you. Who are the people that inspired you to get into musical theatre, or are your like idols now?
Okay, so Alexia Kadim, actually. I was a lot younger, so she was actually my dance teacher. She was currently playing Nala, one of the youngest Nalas in the West End. I think she was 19 playing Nala, and I was 12 or so, and she was my like street dance teacher on a Saturday morning. And having someone that close to you, she became like this impossible thing that you go and see a show and it's like stars and glitter and sparkles, and you're like, wow, when you watch it. And she became like this dream that you had access to or that you could touch. Like, I saw her every week. Her number was in my phone. When we rehearsed shows and stuff like that, I had the same singing teacher as her because I wanted to get into that. And I spoke to her mum because her mum was usually there. Her mum was usually there in the mornings. And I was like, what do I need to do? Because I want to do this as well. And her mum told me, you know, a class to go to or whatever. And it just made it so accessible. And she's such a lovely lady and so supportive and so wicked. And wicked, when she was in Wicked, I got to come in and pop in and sit up in her dressing room and watch them paint her and all of that super cool stuff. So she just is, she was that for me. She just made it real. It became more attainable and something that you could actually work towards.
Jodie, what about you? Who are the people that you look up to, or now that are kind of, you know, if you were to meet them at a press night, you'd be fangirling out?
So I think for me, back where Kerry Ellis was a big kind of a big inspiration, and Rachel Tucker and Alice Fern, and they're, you know, Emma Hatton. God, it just looks like I'm reading up alphabets here, doesn't it? That's so,
there is a theme, yeah.
But I think, and they allowed me to go to them for advice, and still now, and you know, and all of them are good friends of mine now, which is crazy. And there's one person in my life that is such a good friend, but I think everything about her is just incredible, not just because of her work ethic and her performance skills and her talent, but Zoe Burfitt is the most incredible human being. Just the way she lives her life. I mean, she's down the road from me now, and we're like this, and she's like my sister, but just the way she is, the way she deals with things as a woman, the way that she has never apologized. You know, when she came to fame, it was, you know, females were still not where we are now. We're talking like maybe, 15, maybe 20 years ago. And she was never afraid and never bowed down to talk up and to get what she wants in a very polite and well-mannered way. But she's just fearless, and she knows what she wants, and she goes out and gets it. She's not afraid to say no. She's just incredible. So I think having those kind of people in my life. But now it's all about Gillian Anderson after watching The Fall. That's my new thing, right?
That's incredible. I'm actually going to come back later on and ask you all what you've been watching and what the top recommendations are. I think I might have heard something about Below Deck, but we will come back to that. This I am genuinely going to ask everybody, so I need 2 answers from everybody, but we're going to do it super quick fire so you don't have too much time to think.
Oh, I'm stressed.
If you could play any character in any other musical, who would it be? Shaka, go.
Angelica Schuyler or Tim Moon in Once on This Island?
Love that. Lauren Drew.
Oh, even Molly and Ghost in my own right, or Regina George and Mean Girls.
Yes, love it. Jodie.
Evan Hansen and Dear Evan Hansen.
Nice. Oh, come on.
Love that. Okay. Noted. Cassie.
I'm going to second Tim Moon on Once on This Island, and also just for like giggles, a stab at like Elle Woods, because that would be funny.
That's such a great show. I love it.
Yeah.
Jen.
Miss Honey in Matilda or Lauren in Pinky Boots.
Yes. Athena.
Nala in Lion King or Eliza Barlow.
Oh, so good. You'd be so good at both.
So good. Maddie.
Middle Alison in Fun Home and Mrs. Wormwood in
Maddie,
Matilda.
that's the best time.
It's amazing. Can you imagine?
Harriet, what about you?
I would be Nancy in Oliver or Madame P in Raymond.
Yeah,
You'd be so
Great.
good.
Yeah, awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, well, if there's any casting directors watching, you heard it here first. For all of those. So, Katie has a question about costumes. Are there any specific difficulties with your 6 costumes or details that you would like to have in them going forward? I always think that the microphone into the loop looks like that could go really, really wrong at any moment. Like that would give me anxiety at night. Athena, is there anything particularly in the car costume that you find challenging?
Not particularly, actually. I'm quite lucky with my trousers and my top. I think the only thing sometimes is my belt, because it's like a little, I don't know how to explain this, a little hook. And sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it can come undone, especially if I've suddenly like done this in the space of like a week. You know, if I lose a bit of weight or put on a bit of weight, the belt starts messing about on me. But apart from that, I'm actually really lucky and I really love it. And I don't think I'd change anything.
Oh, love that. What about Lauren with the Aragon costume?
Settle in, everyone.
Anyway, we've only got 18 minutes left. So
No, my first costume that I had, the original costume, was amazing aesthetically, but unfortunately, I think the design, we spoke about it with Gabrielle and all the costume team.
Yeah.
About how it wasn't necessarily helpful for my figure because I've got a very expansive rib cage, you know, which I didn't really realise until I put that costume on. So my rib cage is very, it actually inflates dramatically when I take a good breath in. And so the material didn't really give me any space. And so what happened then effectively was, because the costume was one unit, it would move like this and trap underneath my rib cage. And so I couldn't get the big enough breath that I needed when singing, especially in Away, but throughout the show. So then I was obviously in the band costume for quite a while until we got the new costume. And now it's wonderful. I've got stretchy material around my ridiculously weird ribs. It's all good. Thrilled.
Amazing. I love that. So really, really important questions. If you were stuck on a desert island, could only take 3 things with you, what would it be, Shaka?
My skincare kit, that would be number 1, because I've got to keep that glow right. My music stuff, so I can continue to write. And my Pilates ring, so I could just keep fit at the same time.
I love that. Thank you. Madison, what about you?
Oh gosh, mine would definitely be would a journal and pen count as one, or would that be two?
You can have that as one.
Journal and pen. Oh God, I don't even know. Guitar probably, because I know a bit, but I've always wanted to learn more, so I can spend my time doing that. And probably one last chocolate bar, just to like have that feeling. But yeah,
I love that. Same question to Jen Caldwell.
I answered this as well the other day.
It's like I knew.
I'm prepped. So I said I would take some kind of music device that had a potentially rechargeable battery, but I need to find a way to recharge the battery. So I can't live without music. I would also take some kind of device that would, like a filtration device that would allow me to drink seawater so I wouldn't go dehydrated. Thank you. And also, I'm going to get it. It's really sad, right? But my mum wrote me this for my 21st birthday, and it's a book. And it's got loads of different things in it, like pictures of her growing up and my dogs, and like loads of things about how she grew up and how I grew up. And it's one of my favorite things in the world, and I could read it forever. So
that's beautiful. I love that. Gorgeous. So obviously you're about to come back together into rehearsals and then go back and work together, which is really exciting. So who is the messiest person backstage?
Maddie!
Maddie!
Excuse me. I am not the only one. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to put this out there, right? Lauren, I'm sorry, but when we are in the same dressing room, it's literally me and you. So, yeah, I will take that, but I'm taking Lauren Drew with me, all right?
I love it. Take her down. Who is the noisiest person backstage before a show?
Jodie.
Geordie, I think.
Who is the mum of the group?
Oh, Jen, maybe? We all take on that role at some point. It's weird, isn't it? I think Jen more so. I don't know.
I don't really think we have one. I think we all take moments. We all have like our slot of when we look after everyone. So I don't think there's
I'm more
one
like the
specific
drunk
mum of the group.
I love that. Who never has their phone charger on them?
We haven't really got anyone like that. I think we're all too
No one who's really forgetful.
forgetful.
None of us, I think.
Sensational.
obviously all sensational. So obviously, we've been in lockdown or kind of semi-lockdown for a while now. So what are the top things that you have been watching on TV? These can be anything from documentaries to dramas to reality shows. What are the top things that everyone has to get on board with? Harriet.
Below Deck and Schitt's Creek.
Yes, love both of those. But I got through the first 2 seasons of Below Deck, and then you have to pay for like further seasons, and I'm like, no. Sad times.
Wow.
Yeah. I know, isn't it awful? But first 2 seasons that were amazing, and Schitt's Creek, obviously, awesome. They cleaned up at the Emmys last week. That was amazing. What about you, Cassie? What are the must watches?
So I'm kind of late. I'd only ever seen clips of it, so I've dedicated myself to actually watching this show. So I went back on 90 Day Fiancé and watching that now. And also the new season of Greenleaf, I like blazed through in like 4 days. So yeah,
love that. Athena.
I rewatched all of Doctor Who with my fam. Good bit of Gossip Girl.
Retro, I love it.
And Line of Duty. Yeah,
that's really good. We've gone back and started watching Line of Duty from the beginning, and it's amazing how many you know like what's coming, but you forget some of the detail, and they are still so good. So yeah, I fully recommend doing that. Jen, what about you? What have you been watching?
I mean, I watched all of Schitt's Creek from the beginning because I wasn't ready to watch the final season, so I got put it off and then watched it all the way through. Amazing. Selling Sunset as well.
Yes. Oh my God.
Trash, but I love it so much.
Love it.
I find I've not been able to watch anything like too dramatic. because I get really like bogged down in it. So I'd rather watch comedy.
Yeah.
Like just to lighten everything a little bit. So
Escapism a little bit. I did watch The Fall like almost in just 2 sittings, and I didn't sleep very well. I'm not gonna.
No, my mum watched it. I couldn't bring myself to do it.
It was brilliant, but it is fairly disturbing. Madison, what about you? What do we have to watch?
So I go in weird times when I'm the opposite of Jen. When I can't watch anything light, I've got to watch get stuck in a series that's really full on and it just is distraction. So I've made a list because there were too many to miss out. So it's not a long list. Dead to Me. If you haven't seen Dead to Me, that is so good. So good. It's so good. Don't look anything. You can't look anything up about it. You've just got to start it and just go because it's just amazing. Away. Which is a short series about a 3-year trip to Mars, which is really good. This is a funny one. James Acaster's comedy special. You've got to see that. We've rewatched that as family again, and we were just in fits. And we've just started Criminal on Netflix.
Oh my God, that's so good.
So good. We've only watched the first episode, but it's so good. So we can't wait to watch the rest. But yeah.
It's brilliant. My friend, we were at uni together, wrote and directed it, and he just got nominated for International Emmy for it. So, guys, if you haven't seen Criminal, go watch it. It's pretty good.
Good. I'm not surprised.
Pretty good. It's Emmy nominated. So, Jodie.
Sunso, hello.
We've got you. Go for it.
I've got a second Selling Sunset.
It's so good. It's so good.
Love it so much. I've also got a second The Fall. I thought it was incredible. Honestly, Gillian Anderson's unreal in it. It's amazing. The Morning Show.
Yes.
Watch The Morning Show. That's a great one. And Ratchet.
Oh, I can't wait to see that.
The new Ryan Murphy. I've heard this is amazing.
It is so. It's intense. It really kind of tests your watching ability because you can just be like, this is ridiculous, but stick with it.
Okay, good to know. Lauren, Drew, top recommendations for TV shows, films, documentaries.
So, to me, absolutely, you have to watch it. It's sensational. Little Fires Everywhere. Oh my God, you have to watch it. Oh my God. The Boys, have to watch it.
Okay.
Oh my God. And Ozark, if you haven't watched Ozark already.
Yeah.
It is exceptional watching. You have to watch it. I haven't watched very many films, weirdly. I just haven't really felt up to it. I haven't got the mental thing to sit there for 2.5 hours. I've watched a couple. Tell you what I did watch on cinema when everything's a bit more chill was what's the name? It's a bit like Inception, but it's not. The new film that was out in cinema, what the hell is it called? Tenet. And I watched it and was like, oh God, not a chance, sorry, boring. But Sam had gone to see it and made me go with him so he could watch it again. And he said the second time around it was exceptional, so I'm going to give it another go.
Amazing. All right, good to know. And Shaka, I think you're the last one on the list.
I have been watching Black Lightning, Chewing Gum. Definitely rewatched all of Ghost Whisperer. I'm stuck on self-isolation because I went to Switzerland. So yeah, guys, feel free to send me other suggestions. I'm just
Has
here
anyone
watching
watched I May Destroy You? Talking of chewing gum.
Oh, and Dear White People.
I have
as
not.
well.
Okay, some amazing recommendations. We've got a couple of quick questions just before we finish up because unbelievably that's a whole hour. I feel like we could talk forever. But a quick question for Shaka. When you were hired, did you know you would be the tour's Cleves, or did they tell you later and you thought you're a West End alternate?
Baby, I found out at the same time and I thought it was a joke. I said to my agent, I said, you better stop joking. I said, are you serious? I laughed, I cried, I was confused, I was perplexed. But it was all of those emotions wrapped into one. I was like, surely not. I was just like, they need someone who...
That was my today. I remember we were in Bridlington, weren't we? When you found out, and Bridlington is sorry if anyone lives in Bridlington, but there's nothing to do there. And I remember we were all feeling a bit rubbish, and I remember you coming in and being like, I got the job, and I was like, I had a little cry. Anyway, I'm gonna meet myself.
But yeah, it was one of those. Like I found out, and it was what was hard though is that everyone was like, "But she's in the red costume." Wait, no, she's in Lexi's costume, and I'm an awful liar. So when everyone was like, "Oh, are you going onto the tour?" I was like, "Guys, we'll see what life has in store. You know, you've got the new alternates coming. I don't know. I'm probably just here for the summer because I can't lie. I really can't lie."
No,
so,
I really struggle as well.
So yeah, it's crazy, but it was a blessing. And it was one of those things that I had prayed on for a very long time, and I'd never thought I would have the opportunity to do both, and I am eternally grateful.
Amazing. So I don't think people necessarily realize the touring, however amazing it is quite hard work. So, you know, if you do a run, for example, you guys are going into the Lowry, I think, for 7 weeks, so you can kind of settle, you'll have your digs for the whole time. But touring, you're kind of literally doing a week or 2 weeks, and then you pack up your whole lives. And sometimes you're going literally across the country on a weekend. Do you find, so those of you, for example, who've done tours but also done kind of more static productions, like Jen, do you think that you need to look after yourself more on tour?
For sure, yeah. And I think it's important to all, I mean, no one inevitably all gets along all the time, but it's important to have that family vibe. I think I think that on a tour is really, really important. But I think it's also important to be able to leave the tour bubble sometimes and be able to go home and be able to detach from that, because it does become a bubble. So you have to really be aware of that a lot of the time as well, I think.
Amazing. We are kind of at the end of our hour. Thank you so much to the amazing questions that we've had this afternoon now. It's been an absolute slice of heaven having you on. Literally, this hour has just flown by. We are so excited to have you guys back on stage. Who's going to tell us? Harriet, tell us about the dates that you open in Salford.
So I believe, someone tell me if I'm wrong, we open on the 27th of November.
Yes.
And we close on the 17th of January.
Amazing. So guys, this collection of fabulous human beings are going to be at the Lowry in Salford in Manchester over Christmas. So get your queen on and go and see them. Guys, love you so much. Thank you so much for your time this morning. We'll be able to come and see you really soon. I'm going to take you out one by one and just say thank you to Shaka. Thank you, Shaka. Thanks, Lauren. Thank you so much, Jodie. Lots of love. Athena. Bye, Cassie. Thank you. Jen, Maddie, and last but not least, the lovely Harriet. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time this afternoon. Coming up in just half an hour, we are joined by the lovely Eddie Slattery, who's doing a Latin Jive class. So if you're getting ready for Strictly to start on the 24th of October, just dropping that in, and you want to work up your salsa vibes, be joining us at 1 o'clock for an hour's class with Eddie. Meanwhile, enjoy